In the grand, often whitewashed narrative of American innovation, certain names are etched into our collective memory. Edison, Ford, Bell. These are the titans, the men whose genius we are taught to believe built the modern world. But history is a far more complex and crowded room, filled with figures who, for reasons of race or gender, have been relegated to the shadows. It is in this periphery that we find Marie Van Brittan Brown, a black nurse from Queens, New York. In the year 1966, long before the sleek palm-sized devices that now guard our front doors, she conceived and built the apparatus that would become the foundational blueprint for all modern home security systems. Her story is not merely one of invention, it is a testament to the power of necessity and a stark reminder that the very concept of safety has never been equally distributed in America. The genius of Marie Van Brittan Brown's system resided not in a single revolutionary component, but in the elegant integration of several technologies to create a comprehensive security solution. Her first masterstroke was the implementation of a motorized camera. This was not a static eye fixed on one position. She designed it to slide up and down, allowing a resident to view a visitor of any height, a tall adult, a small child, through a series of peepholes drilled into her front door. This seemingly simple feature revealed a deep consideration for the practicalities of surveillance. It was built for real-world scenarios, not just theoretical ones. Today, the pan, tilt, and zoom functions on our most advanced security cameras are the direct technological descendants of this foundational concept of a mobile, adaptable lens. To make this visual information useful, she needed a way to see it from a safe distance. This led to the second key element, a closed-circuit television system with monitors placed inside the home. Instead of being tethered to the front door, a person could be in another room, the kitchen, the bedroom, and still see exactly who was on their doorstep. This transformed the peephole from a point of vulnerability into a remote observation post. In our current era, where we stream live video feeds from our doorbells to our smartphones from anywhere in the world, we are simply living out the evolution of Brown's core idea. She envisioned a world where you did not have to physically approach the door to know who was there, fundamentally changing the dynamic between resident and visitor. Visual confirmation, however, was only half of the equation. Brown understood the necessity of communication. Thus, she integrated a two-way microphone and speaker system, allowing her to speak directly with the person outside without compromising the physical barrier of the locked door. This feature enabled her to question a stranger, verify the identity of a delivery person, or tell an unwelcome guest to leave, all from a position of safety. It is the very same function that allows us to have a conversation with a package courier through our Ring or Nest doorbell today. She recognized that true security involved not just seeing, but also interacting and controlling the situation from a distance, a principle that remains central to home security design. Finally, her system was not passive. It was armed with two active defense mechanisms. The first was a remote-controlled door lock, which could be triggered by a button from within the house, allowing her to grant access to a verified visitor without ever moving to the door. The second was an alarm button that, when pressed, could automatically send a signal to a police station or a private security service. In one stroke, she had conceived of remote access control and an emergency alert system. These two features completed the circle of protection: see, hear, speak, and act. Every element of her 1966 patent maps directly onto the core functionalities that define the smart home security market of the 21st century. The impetus behind Marie Van Brittan Brown's creation was not a flash of commercial inspiration or a desire for technological acclaim. It was the cold, gnawing anxiety that settled in during the quiet hours of the night. In the New York City of the 1960s, the promise of "to protect, to serve" was a conditional one for residents of Jamaica, Queens. Crime rates were a source of constant concern, and police response in black neighborhoods was notoriously slow. This systemic neglect created a vacuum of safety. This reality forged Brown's invention. Imagine the scene. City lights casting long shadows across her living room floor. Marie returns from a draining night shift as a nurse, alone. Her husband Albert, an electronics technician, works irregular hours. There is a profound and deeply unsettling irony in the trajectory of Marie Van Brittan Brown's invention. It was meant as a shield for a vulnerable black woman left unprotected by the state in a high-crime urban neighborhood. Now it has found its most fervent adoption in manicured lawns, gated communities of white suburbia. The tools she designed to counter systemic neglect are marketed as lifestyle accessories for communities with robust policing. Advertisements for Ring, advertisements for Nest show pristine suburban homes where the primary threat is a stolen package or an unfamiliar car. This migration from margin to mainstream is a troubling cultural inversion. What began as protection for a black family has been co-opted into surveillance that targets black people, brown people. On December 2, 1969, the United States Patent and Trademark Office officially granted U.S. Patent 3482-37 to Marie Van Brittan Brown and Albert L. Brown. The document itself, with its detailed diagrams, is a monument to their foresight. It describes a home security system utilizing television surveillance, laying out the intricate dance of its components. Camera assembly moving between peepholes, radio-controlled wireless transmission of video to monitors, audio transceiver remote lock and alarm mechanisms. Reading the patent today is like discovering an ancient scroll that predicts the future. It is the foundational text for a massive global industry, often without attribution to its original authors. The legacy of Marie Van Brittan Brown is not a simple, triumphant tale of invention. It is a complex and deeply American story, fraught with the tensions of race safety justice. On one hand, she is an icon of ingenuity and self-reliance. As a nurse, she was a professional caregiver, and with her invention, she extended that ethos of care to the very structure of her home. She saw a failure in the social fabric, and instead of succumbing to fear, she wove a technological safety net for herself and her family. In the year 2025, as our lives become ever more enmeshed with technology, the story of Marie Van Brittan Brown is more urgent than ever. Smart cities' automated policing doorbell cameras that double as neighborhood informants. To navigate this world without knowing her name is to be historically illiterate, to misunderstand the very origins of the tools that shape our daily sense of security. Knowing her name is not a matter of trivia, it is a matter of context. It anchors the disembodied technology of today in the lived experience of a black woman who was forced to innovate because she was afraid and because the people paid to protect her would not. To say her name, Marie Van Brittan Brown, is to perform an act of corrective history. Say her name.